Well guys, you've seen the thumbnail and this video is about the Gravel World Championships. Now the Gravel World Championships have been something that is drawn a lot of conversation about what it was, how it was run, and also the bicycles that were being ridden. So let's just roll an intro and let's basically go through this and why I think that the Gravel World Championships was a massive fail for the UCI. Well, basically there's two things that I want to talk about in this video. And one is that I believe the UCI wanted to use this as a springboard or a platform to bring gravel to Europe, get the big names involved, and kind of soften it so it's a sort of semi-hybrid road gravel type thing, because they're probably thinking Europeans don't really understand gravel. So what we'll do is we'll kind of make it this semi-road, but just riding on a bit of gravel and paths and so forth like that, a bit of rough road. Because let's face it, that's what gravel means, really, unsealed roads. And really, they really delivered it really poorly, because a lot of people are criticised and they go, hang on a sec, this is supposed to be a Gravel World Championships. And there's a specific bike class that's called gravel bikes that has become very, very popular. And those sorts of bikes are a little bit different to a normal road bike. And normally they have fixtures, they put a lot more stuff on it. They've got bigger tyres that they can fit on. But they're kind of like a road bike, or maybe you could call them a utility bike. They can kind of ride on the road and off-road, but they're not a full-on blown mountain bike. So I would probably call gravel bikes more of a utility bike. And in America, these things work quite well. And the gravel bike persona thing, or that brand of, or that style of bike, is actually quite popular, and there is some extremely well-known events over there that perform very, very well. But the UCI, like everything, want to put their hand in there and take control. And I think that they did this whole thing very, very poorly, because instead of getting a positive outcome from it, what they've done is they've alienated a few people. Like they go, hang on a sec, this was a Gravel World Championships, but people were just riding road bikes. Now, they may have been riding bikes with a little bit bigger tyres on, but let's be real, they're road bikes, which kind of then puts that out there, like, really, are these gravel bikes a real class, or is it like, it's just a road bike really with wider tyres? So people who are not that familiar with gravel bikes are going to get this perception. They go, well, some of these people are riding gravel bikes, some of these bikes. It's like a free-for-all. Why didn't some people just rock up with mountain bikes as well, Who knows? Now, this is where it's quite different. UCI has quite a different approach to the other forms of racing. Like if you go to stage racing, what bike you can use is very, very particular. Like you can't go and get a tri or a semi-tri bike and start riding it. You can't use different style handlebars to get more aero. You can't use bikes with a different design or aero advantage or different features on the bike that are outside their rules. They get very nervous about that. And even though they may not be clear on some things, they don't like them. They're very anti the bikes becoming, the design of the bikes giving the riders any advantage. But yet, when we go to this World Championship gravel ride, it's like, oh, it's just a free-for-all. You can ride a bike that is more aero, it's generally a faster bike. You can't use the specific gravel bike that is supposed to be used in a gravel race. Okay, so the number two thing I want to talk about here is I believe the UCI did this as a marketing campaign. And I think that was a massive fail. So one, really the equipment and the way that the roads and paths they rode on, people were a bit critical of this, was this really gravel? And the bikes they were using was a bit of a free-for-all. They should have made it that only these specification type bikes could be used, which are gravel bikes. You can't just get a road bike and rock up on the day. You know, like with their stage racing, you can't just rock up. The bikes have to be very, very specific to the UCI rules, and they even have to be endorsed and so forth. So I think that the equipment-wise and the circuit or environmental-wise, people are very critical. And then you've got to ask yourself, was this successful as a marketing campaign? And I believe that it was a massive fail. People have had a lot of negative responses to this race. Like obviously they're saying, well, how can just people rock up with road bikes? There's a lot of road bikes there. And I do believe the winner was riding a road bike. Some really top names were riding road bikes. And even as far as like the manufacturers go, they must have gone, well, this is not going to help us sell bikes in the gravel, what do you call it, the design of bike, because the people are just coming with road bikes, which could also promote the fact that people are going to transition to road bikes if they don't believe that the rustling to the course, or the course is that bad that they need to have really super big wheels, because a gravel bike generally is not a suspension bike. So you go, really, well, what's the difference? A part of having a bit of air in. And let's face it, these pro guys, they're used to having a pretty coarse bike, and those bikes are faster. And as I've said before, water tires aren't quicker. They are quicker if the road gets bad enough that you need to have that compliance. But generally, if most of that circuit was on like Roubaix, then you say, well, we can optimize the bike for the cobbles, but most of the races are on tarmac, so we're going to optimize the bike for the tarmac and then just live with the cobbles. And that's what they did in this gravel bike. So I just made a big joke of the whole thing, and people probably going, yeah, this is just the Europeans trying to do gravel and do it really badly. So I think as far as a marketing campaign and the UC trying to do a control grab of it, has really been a big fail. And that's what it's all about. It's about the UCI. They just want to control. This is kind of a bit of an outlaw type of area. Gravel bikes are a bit of a type of outlaw area. And there's been no real rules about the bikes, like stringent rules like they have with road racing, and the UCI want to jump in there and they want to take control of it. And I actually am pretty happy that they kind of stuffed it up, because I think the UCI in general holds back cycling in a big way. They don't apply the rules evenly, and also they're very strict on any bike development. They don't like the manufacturers to really develop things that give the riders any advantage. Okay, yeah, we see an extra gear and we're seeing disc brakes and all this other stuff, but really, in the whole scheme of things, they're kind of technology that manufacturers have wanted to move to. It's not what pro teams have wanted to move to. So that's where it's kind of different. The teams that want to try stuff that's actually going to make them faster generally get a rap across the knuckles by the UCI. Don't do that, or they disqualify them, or they ban that type of riding. You know, like the tucks and the handlebars, or even one of the hubs was banned because they said it had like a little shroud on it, and that little shroud that was on one side, they said, no, that's aero advantage. And I mean, you know, they're being really finicky about it. But then Gravel World Champions, anything goes. So guys, leave your comments down below. I do think that this was just a bit of a real stuff up by the UCI completely. And I don't know, I don't think this is going to go well for him in coming years. And you tell me, what do you think of it? Do you think it was okay that they could bring along whatever bike they wanted to ride? The circuit, what did you think of the circuit? A lot of people critical it wasn't gravelly enough, and that's why they got to ride with the road bikes. I don't think that. I think you could probably ride both. It'd have to be pretty bad before you wanted to go to a gravel bike or bike with suspension on. But it is something that I think is going to happen. If the teams think they can get an advantage using a road bike, they are. And that's where you need to ask yourself, does someone need to step in and say, hang on a sec, this is a gravel bike, you need to use a bike that's classified as a gravel bike under these sets of rules? I think so. It needs to be separate. It can't be just another road race like that's the Strada Bianca or a Roubaix. It's just a little bit different format. And I think that's what we saw, and that's what we had in this circumstance. So guys, that's where I'm going to leave it, and I'll see you next vid.